Good morning, everybody. You are tuned to Computers 2K now on the Nissan Communications Network. I'm Amnon, your host for the next couple of hours, along with Gal.
Good morning.
Good morning. And Nick is here.
Good morning.
Good morning. Our number is 919-518-9773, Computers 2K Voice on Skype. And today's show is made possible by VMix Software, Telestreams, Wirecast software, and is sponsored by Tom Sinclair of live streaming gear. Spence is somewhere where there's water. I don't know where, but he sent a picture and showed a sunset and like the ocean. So I don't know if he's on a cruise or what. He never told me, but he'll be back this afternoon. So what's going on? Nick was not supposed to be here. Nick was going to go to.
Hold on. That's not true. I said I might.
I know. But yeah. you were going to go to Hamfest in Benson.
Yeah. I didn't feel like driving. I had nothing I really was going to get, so it would have just been a waste of a day.
Oh.
Hamfest, as in ham radio?
Yeah.
Oh, sometimes.
Yeah, I mean, it would have been fun, but I didn't have anything I particularly needed. So it would have been 5.5 hours of driving for nothing.
Well,
you can get that.
So now, remind me again. So the Raleigh Hamfest is the same weekend as Easter, you said?
Oh, yes, every year. Fantastic planning that they do.
It's on Easter Sunday.
No, that's not Easter Sunday. It's the weekend of Easter or something like that. I don't know. It's not on Easter Sunday.
Oh, okay. That's what I was thinking. I said, they wouldn't do that. But the reason why you couldn't go is because you always go home.
Yes.
And it was the travel. Well, maybe this year.
Nope, it's always the same. It's on Saturday, April 11th.
And
day before Easter.
And you're going home?
Not sure.
Okay, so if you don't, that's what I mean. Then you'll be able to come to that.
Maybe. Yeah. Who knows? I might not go to that either. I don't have anything I need.
Don't you long for the connection with people with the same interest, man?
Yeah, I do. But again, I'm going to walk around there for 2 hours like a moron. I'm not going to know anybody. I mean, it's not going to be anything to do.
Well, I agree. Going alone, yeah, I can get that.
You should get the guys in Wilmington to do a Hamfest.
Unless I'm going to do it.
Nobody's one of them things. Interesting. Yeah.
It's a lot of work to put something like this together. Yeah, it is.
Absolutely. But it's always worth it. If they want to grow the club, I mean, there may be a lot of people in Wilmington that want to get into it.
There's not. There's 4 people show up to the meetings.
No, I'm talking about the other people that don't know how to go about it. They have no idea that it exists, but if they see something, they say, oh, yeah, I always wanted to do that.
I think I'm going to go to the gun show this afternoon. That's what I'll probably do instead.
Well, priorities. So, Nick, you wanted to, I mean, I talked a little bit with Gal about it, but you mentioned something about Docker.
Yeah.
last week. And Gal was talking about it a little bit, but I don't know enough about it.
Neither do I.
Oh, I mean, you were saying that because
I saw the story. I mean, that's about all I saw.
so, like you said, Gal, there's nothing really, there's no story yet.
But there, I mean, there's a story. I'm playing it down in importance. It's Docker, the company behind the product. They've been struggling for a while now. The past year, there have been reports on a lot of financial issues, and apparently that has been solved. They've been sold to another company, Martin's. Sorry if I'm messing up the name. I'll find the link in a sec. And that company is focused very strongly on Kubernetes. Now, Docker and Kubernetes, they live in the same space, but Docker, the company, had an additional product in the Docker line, Mirantis. That's the name of the Mirantis. Docker had an additional product called Docker Swarm, and Swarm and Kubernetes, they are exactly in the same space. They're what's called orchestration, and orchestration suites are used to plan and deploy software. And one of the key components of these orchestration tool sets are container technologies, and the most popular container technology is Docker. So that's where everything fits. In any way, Docker, since its introduction in around 2013, has been driving the market, the high-tech market in general, and pushing the boundaries on what we thought knew was possible in terms of deployment, massive deployment in systems. So for companies like Google, companies like Amazon, Microsoft, where especially that when discussing about software as a service or discussing about international deployment, global deployment of software, which with components of servers and something that is complex, that requires multiple systems, required load balancing between them, requires a lot of thought and planning behind how to do it. Working with traditional software and installers, and in Windows we have MSIs, in Linux there's a lot of components within each system that rely on one another, managing different versions. These orchestration suites, they make it a lot. They mitigate a lot of the trouble in planning that, and creates an environment where the developer and the production deployment, and of course QA testing, they all use exactly the same piece of software when they're working. And so it's a big deal in how software is deployed today over the web. And there was always this battle, sort of Betamax VHS battle between Kubernetes and Swarm. Only Swarm was this tiny speck, and Kubernetes grew and grew and grew and grew, even though Kubernetes were utilizing Docker as their main container technology. Swarm always tried to paint itself as the best solution for orchestrating Docker, but eventually it lost the battle. One of the major criticism of Docker, the company, is that they were too invested in making Swarm work, and that's probably what cost them the financial struggles that they went through. And now with Kubernetes, with the sale to Mirantis, Mirantis has officially put the nail. I don't know if it's the first nail or the last nail in the coffin of Swarm, but decided they're not going to continue development on that. So, right. So this battle has been settled, sort of, right? I'm guessing there's a few techs out there that are really pissed off on that, but it's a bit like the picture was already painted. Now it's just really, really clear. That's why I'm playing down on the importance of it, but it's finally done.
But nothing really is. I mean, that's what they think that the Mirantis is going to do. It's not. It
No,
hasn't been.
Mirantis has expressed it. I think the article says.
So it actually.
Yeah, while Mirantis said it
Interesting.
will continue to offer support in the near term for Docker's products, it was less committal in the longer term, with key products such as the orchestration tool Docker Swarm only getting 2 years of planned support. So basically, they're saying stop using those, stop using Swarm, right? We'll guide you to the end, but stop using Swarm. So, yeah.
Oh well.
Yeah.
Interesting.
It is, but it's like it's so.
It's fine. I mean, it's
so behind the scenes, right? That it's if you're not using the tools, then whatever.
Yeah, I mean, this is really not for your user at home and whatever. This is more of a business thing, and
yeah, definitely it's gonna affect business and how it's driven. Yeah.
All right, so let's go to the next story. Last week, I think it was Tuesday, Disney Plus was officially launched, right?
Yeah, that's what I hear.
Hackers didn't waste any time and have started hijacking Disney Plus user accounts hours after the service launched. Wow. Many of these accounts are now being offered for free on hacking forums or available for sale for price varying from $3 to $11. This is from ZDNet. Many users reported that hackers were accessing their accounts, logging them out of all devices, and then changing the account's email and password, effectively taking over the account and locking the previous owner out. 2 users who spoke with ZDNet on the condition we do not share their names admitted that they reused passwords. However, other users said online that they did not and had used passwords unique to their Disney Plus accounts. This suggests that in some cases, hackers gain access to accounts by using email and password combos leaked at other sites. While in other cases, the Disney Plus credentials might have been obtained from users infected with keylogging or info stealing malware. The speed at which hackers have mobilized to monetize Disney Plus accounts is astounding. So, I mean, they just released it and accounts are already being offered. You can't blame Disney.
No, it's nothing to blame. That's why I think it's like funny that they're reporting it this way.
Yeah.
Right. But it's good. It's a good demonstration of how vulnerable most of the people are, especially if they're unaware.
Right.
Yeah.
So the thing that we need to take out of it is don't reuse password. Don't use the same password, especially the ones that you used on sites that were breached.
Well, let's put it this way. Don't use the same password on your most important accounts.
Yeah, well.
For sure, right? The ones that will lead people to all your secrets, the one that would lead people to allow them to reset any other site, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And I'm wondering how this works. Most people that I spoke with said that they paid a year in advance.
Okay.
So it already came out of the credit card. So canceling your credit card is not going to do it.
No, they'll need to talk with Disney.
So what can you do? I mean, your account has been, I don't know that Disney is equipped at this point to help a user manually reset the password and, verify. I hope they can.
Right. Well, I mean, what they really need to do is they'll need to convince a Disney rep
Yeah.
to reset the account to the previous email, right?
Oh,
And so as long as it's, I don't know, done in
that's
the
true.
past week, right? If Disney will allow that, then it's easy to mitigate, right?
Yeah.
But then again, Disney needs some sort of assurance that that is the person.
Correct.
Otherwise, resetting to the previous email might be the wrong process, right? So it's like that is, I think, the main thing. Because if they change the email of the account, I think one of the major issues is the user it'll be hard for them to say, hey, look, I have an account with you. What's your email? They go and search. There's no active account on that email, right? Because it was changed. So Disney, if they want to help their customers here, and we do know Disney has, at least right when it comes to physical interaction with their customers, they try to do the best, right? They try to be one step above customer support. I don't know how they are on the phone.
I don't
know how they are. No, I mean, that's what they sell, the image that they sell in their parks, the image that they sell whenever they do business. That's what I'm saying. I'm not saying that's what they are. But if they want to help people on that account, then they need some way of searching previous emails for accounts, right? Which account has changed from that email? And I doubt the system is built that way. I doubt any system is built that way.
See, that's exactly what I'm talking about. Is a more, they need to have some kind of mechanism. I mean, they have a database of all their subscribers. I think.
Right.
I think they should have the original email address that you logged in with and that you subscribed with.
Yeah, but the question is it hooked to the system, right?
Well,
and that's the real
true.
question.
That's true.
So the fact that the data exists there somewhere, yeah, of course, their mail servers has a copy of the email that has been sent to the account when it was activated. I'm sure it exists, right? The question is, how do you link it to the account that was changed, making sure that you get that back? Because it's all your fault when it comes, legally speaking, right? It's you as the user, it's your fault that you were breached. So never mind if it's not your fault, but it's like it's your
that's the way that they
right. It's your legal responsibility. So dealing with that, it's a problem. It's a problem that needs. It'll be interesting to see.
I guess we'll find out in the next week or week after what's being done about it. But there was another story about Disney Plus, which was very interesting. That the way that they grew. Oh, the Walt Disney Company said Wednesday that its new streaming service, Disney Plus, had 10 million signups since it launched Tuesday at midnight. So it launched Tuesday at midnight, and on Wednesday they said that they had 10 million signups. That is amazing. That is just amazing.
Is it really that surprising though?
Well, I mean,
They've been teasing the service for 8 months, a year.
yeah, they were saying that they were going to do that, but
Yeah.
still, it's
So
now.
what do you think? They put bots that signed up as the fake users.
I mean, they can say whatever they want.
Yeah, they don't have to use bots. They just lie.
Yeah,
Well, every time you lie, you want to present some sort of proof
Yeah.
to back it up, right? So,
oh,
wait, Disney is publicly
Publicly traded company.
Yeah.
right?
They are.
They can't lie.
But they
Ev-
can lie. They just can't get caught.
Well, every lie would be exposed at one point or another. That's the problem.
Yeah.
I
I
mean,
saw a.
I think. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Nick.
No. Go ahead.
I think you could. It seems like Katie told me that she already subscribed to it about 2 or 3 weeks ago. That if
Yeah, you could
you
prepay.
prepay, and
Yeah.
it was a lot cheaper.
It was like $13 a month for Disney, Hulu, and something else. ESPN Plus. Yeah, that's what it was.
So I wonder if they're counting all those pre-registration or prepaid.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, the launch didn't go smoothly at all. It was a mess.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't. I heard you guys talking about it, but Nick, but I did you get the whole story? I know
The
that.
story was the launch was just a mess.
Do you think it had to do with resources?
I don't know how.
They
I mean,
didn't.
Disney's more than capable of dealing with that. I'm not sure how they let that run so amok.
Yeah, people couldn't log in to their.
Yeah.
Look, it's a technical service.
Yeah.
Right. It has nothing to do with the fact that Disney made it. It's made by engineers, right? But specifically software engineers, right? We all know that there will always be a bug in your system. It has nothing to do with Disney.
I'm not saying it has anything to do with Disney, but if you would expect a company to not have those issues, it would be Disney, no?
Don't know.
They own ABC, they own ESPN. I mean, the ESPN's got the largest online CDN in the world. They sell it to MLB and NFL. They've got the largest live CDN in the world. So, I mean, that's all. I'm not saying I wouldn't buy the service anyway, but I wouldn't not buy it because of that.
Exactly.
Well, it's it was rough for users, for subscribers, and I guess at this point it kind of like smoothed out.
Cost of being a pioneer.
And yeah. Well, I don't know that that's a pioneering thing.
It is when you're the first one on the service. Yeah, you pay the.
Oh, you mean the user?
Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Early adopters.
Yeah, early adopters. Absolutely. Yeah. All right. Let's see. That this is also interesting. Apple has started to make its products thicker in an effort to give people what they want: functionality over form. This is a good thing. There are two recent examples: this year's iPhone and the new 16-inch MacBook Pro. So instead of making it thinner and thinner and thinner so people will like it how it is, said, okay, so we'll make it thicker and it'll work better. I don't think they made it 3-inch thick. I have not seen the new iPhone or the MacBook Pro. I am not going to touch a MacBook Pro. Did you see the prices of these things?
Yeah, like the fully spec'd one is like $5,700.
It's ridiculous.
No, it's not. It's par for the course.
Uh, I don't know.
I'm with you. I agree with you. It is ridiculous.
They're not though. They're not any more ridiculous than the ones in the past. I mean, it
Oh,
is
no,
ridiculous,
you're
but
right.
it's not a
You're
new
right.
level of ridiculousness.
Okay, agreed. It
Yeah.
has always been ridiculous.
Yeah, it has.
and still is.
Absolutely. Yeah, yeah.
It's always been ridiculous.
It has.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, you I guess there are organizations that buy these things, and
There's an
they
organization.
work.
I mean, some people have a reason to buy a Mac.
Geez, I can. Yeah.
There is no reason in the world.
There's plenty. Oh, come on. Don't make such a stupid statement.
Come on, Nick.
There's plenty of reasons to buy a Mac.
Nick.
No,
Wait. Nick,
I do not agree.
hold
Sorry.
it. Hold
Well,
it.
shit. I mean, they're in business and they're selling hundreds of thousands, if not millions, of these things a year. So there's somebody's got to be buying them for some reason.
But-
I mean, come on.
Nobody said that they're not selling well. There's no reason to buy them though. That's
If
what
there
I'm
wasn't,
saying.
if there wasn't a reason to buy them, then nobody would buy them. That's
No,
that's,
there are alternatives, but people don't buy the alternatives.
well, exactly.
is
There's
no
reason for
reason.
that.
No reason at all.
I mean,
Sorry, no reason at all.
I
You
look at
can't-
it this.
I don't know how you could make such a blanket statement. like that.
Vanity. Okay, that's a reason.
I agree, but here's
Okay,
something.
no. You can't. Hold on. No.
It
can't
is
stop there.
vanity.
It doesn't matter. You can't. That is bullshit. You cannot make a
They
statement. that's
have
va-
catered
they-
from get-go on
They
vanity.
sell tens of millions of those units, and you're really gonna sit here and try
Most
to
people
convince-
are vain.
you're-
That's fine.
You're gonna try to sit here and convince me that there is not a single person that is buying that for a productivity
Act-
person. Every
actu-
single person is buying it for vanity. That is ridiculous.
Actually,
and both of you
actually,
know it.
First
a
10 years, first 10 years of Apple, right? They had products that nobody else had. They
Correct, yeah.
had first 10 years. They're no longer in the first 10 years. And there's nothing that they do better than the alternative.
Okay, and I would make and there's plenty of this. Golf, for example, you have an Alienware computer.
Yeah, vanity, complete vanity.
Absolutely. That doesn't
Yeah.
mean the computer. That doesn't mean the computer doesn't serve a purpose and doesn't have a point.
That-
I'm not talking about the purpose and the point. I'm talking about why specifically Apple.
Well,
and the
if
same
you're in an
purpose
if
and
you're
the
in a-
same point can be achieved without an Apple.
Well, if you're in an Apple ecosystem, I disagree. If you're an okay, I will just start listing off examples. If you are an iOS developer, if you develop iOS apps, there is no alternative. There's not. You
Yeah,
have to have a
but
Mac.
the moment you develop iOS app, you cater to the vanity of those who buy
The
Apple
point
products.
is, if you're an
That's
app
something
developer,
else.
there's tens of thousands of apps, hundreds of thousands of apps in the iOS app store. If you develop or want to develop an iOS app, you have to own a Mac. You have to run Xcode, and you have to do it on a Mac.
As I said, right?
So that's not vanity.
No, you're talking about the people who are already inside the ecosystem of the vanity. That's something else. But
Okay,
the
so if I
reason
decided
for me as
tomorrow-
a consumer to enter, right, the ecosystem, if I think if I choose Apple, I'm choosing wrong. That's what I'm saying.
let me put this way. I think what you're trying to say is there are alternatives for the end user,
Yeah, the consumer. Yeah.
the consumer. There are alternatives that make more sense. And now I want to ask Nick a question.
Go ahead.
What do you do with the laptop these days, or with a computer these days, as their average end user? You do everything on the internet.
Okay.
You don't work numbers. You don't do all kind of calculations that require power. It got to the point where people are just using it on the internet.
Agreed. Yeah.
Any computer.
So then at that point, then Windows computers are also useless. You should all buy Chromebooks. Absolutely.
Oh,
agree with you-
okay,
agree with you
okay,
completely.
that-
Yeah. And
right,
the Windows
the
computers are
only-
just vanity as well.
The only reason why you still would use Windows is because of Office and
Your
because
Office
of
runs on a Mac. Your Office runs on OWA. It runs online. It runs on the web, and it's got all the full features that it does on the Pro. That's what I'm saying.
So you
I
can
don't
always
disagree
drill.
I don't
So you
disagree
can
that the
so
Mac
you can always drill down and
exactly, that's
okay.
why I don't disagree that the Mac is I'm not saying that it's not vanity, but to make the argument that there's no use for it, and the only reason people are buying it is because 'cause they're in the Apple ecosystem already is ridiculous.
I don't think that Gal meant there's no use for it. Obviously, Apple is not a stupid company. Apple is a successful company, and they wouldn't be like this if they built a no use for anybody machine. That's not. But if you need a laptop, would you spend 2,000 or would you spend 700?
If you need a again, we're talking about 2 totally different things, and that's why I'm saying you can't paint this with such a
Oh,
broad brush.
computer. Oh, computer.
Yeah,
Not
if
just
you're
laptop.
looking again, that's why you can't use the broad brush. If you're looking for a laptop, I would say no, you absolutely should not buy a MacBook. It would make no sense. The cost is astronomical.
Yeah.
But depending on your work, your whatever kind of work you do,
Yeah.
there are applications that run only on Mac. A great
That-
example is Final Cut. Tell me how you're going to run Final Cut on a PC.
You
Uh,
don't. You run something else.
Oh, but again, that's a
yeah, but if
terrible,
you if but if
that's
that's
ridiculous.
yeah,
I
if
mean,
that's what you know and that's how you make your living,
Yeah.
then yeah. But that goes to something else here that you said, Nick. I don't
Mhm.
think Apple sells tens of millions.
they do.
I don't think so.
No,
Oh,
no.
okay, maybe not tens of okay, well, I
No,
don't know,
I
let's
mean
see.
they're it's going down. I mean, not even PCs don't sell in this numbers anymore.
How many
It's
MacBooks sold in, let's see, 2017? Apple
I-
becomes
it's
the
it's today it has a lot to do with vanity. I gotta agree with Gal. It's not, it's that's what we call the Apple fanboys. They if Apple makes it, I'm gonna buy it. Okay,
okay,
if
but
you
again,
have the
you're
money.
painting with an incredibly broad brush.
Yeah, I know. You're right.
That's what I'm saying. It's just
Yeah.
yes, are there people yes, I don't believe that an Apple fanboy is gonna drop $600 on a computer.
No, but companies will.
No,
Companies
companies won't
to
either.
to
Companies and businesses don't run Macs
they
either.
where
You know
did
who
it,
does run Macs
where,
though?
I mean,
Schools run
I
MacBooks.
I saw a
Very popular.
story. I saw a story that Microsoft, my some Microsoft lab was talking about that they are really happy with their Macs. That all they use is Macs in the lab for development. Well, fine. But will the people that are using them at the lab have them at home? I don't know. They're probably just using it for development there when they can do the same thing. They probably go home and they don't do it.
I'll tell you what, man.
But
After using a Windows laptop for as long as I have, and then using a MacBook, which I've used in the past,
Yeah.
it's incredible how much better of a laptop the MacBook is. Specifically the Mac.
Because
The battery life is
okay,
1,000 times better than a PC.
right.
And it's just a nicer experience. I'm not an anti-Windows person. Just the MacBook is a very good product. The iMac and the Mac Pro are garbage in my opinion. But the MacBook is a very good product. It has
My
a great
problem
use
was never with the product themselves. Okay, let's be really, really clear here, right? Engineering wise, they are master designers. No doubt about it. My problem is the way they treat their customers and the way their customers drink the Kool-Aid.
Their
That's
customer
my problem.
okay, to be
Um,
fair though, they do have the best customer support of any technology company.
Well, I don't know.
Gal,
I do know.
Let's
They do.
let's put it this way. No, let's put it this way. They might have a fantastic customer support experience, right?
Yeah.
But they let their customer do things exactly the way they intended to. So the moment you try to veer out of the intention of what they had in mind, right? Then you're outside of that.
It's a locked ecosystem. There's no nobody
Yeah.
disagrees with that.
Exactly.
And again, for certain people, that's the ecosystem that makes sense for them, or one that, depending on their
So-
workload, app developer, video editor, that is the ecosystem that makes sense for that workload. Does it make
So-
sense for the everyday? Does it make sense for any of us on this show? Absolutely not. Does it make sense for probably 90% of the people listening to the show? No.
But that's the thing. It probably is true for 90% of the people using Apple products. That's what I'm saying, right?
But- Okay, but again, but going back to Amnon's point, you can make the exact same point about people that are using Windows computers. They're using nothing but using a web browser. So at
Not a
that point,
problem. I'm just talking about the alternative. There's
well,
always
yeah,
an
and so, but
alternative, and
that's
the
the point.
alternatives today are either as good or better, and plus cheaper.
Yes, but
Right?
you have to. Most people buying a MacBook are not buying it just to browse the website. For somebody to be spending $3,000 on a laptop, I would
Most
assume.
people are buying it to just browse and work. That's what most people are doing.
I don't necessarily agree with that.
That's what most people
Most.
buy
I
buy
agree.
computer for.
Most people buy a computer. Yes, I don't think people are spending $3,000 on a computer to browse Facebook.
Then I'm telling you, most people, that's exactly what they do.
Well, I in my experience,
People buy an iPad instead of any other tablet, right? And I'm not saying, oh, go for the $40 one, right? But people pay $400 just to browse instead of buying something that will do it just as well, or it may be even better. Just because it's slapped on, it has the Apple brand on it, right? And it came from there, and they're already hooked. And
or they like the ecosystem.
Well, that's
they
what
do not
that's
like
what,
the ecosystem. They're locked into this.
That's
They-
hold on. No. You can't make a claim like that. I'm in the ecosystem. I don't like that I'm locked in, but I like the ecosystem. It works very well. iMessage is a fantastic product. It's better than, I had here's a great example of it this week. So I got a text from our good buddy Brian Aldridge this week. He said, "Hey, send me a text on your Android phone because Google announced its version of it. Announced it is adding RCS to Android. Did you see anything about this, call?
Yeah.
Okay, so they added RCS to Android, which is their real time texting service, which is like
It's replacing SMS.
It's replacing SMS. It's an equivalent to iMessage for Android in some regards, not completely. So I said, okay. So I hop on my Android phone, I text him, it's not working. So we start looking into it. So we dig into the settings of the phone, and the message that pops up is, sorry, your carrier and device do not currently support this feature at this time. Thank you. So there's your ecosystem. So that's the kind of stuff that's just one small example of that kind of ecosystem things that you don't have to deal with on iOS. I'm not saying it's not Android is an unsuperior product. I'm not saying that Apple's a better product, but to say that buy the $200 Android phone and it does everything the iPhone does at a better thing, it's just personal preference. That's all. It's personal preference. You can't make such a claim. You just can't make a claim that everybody that's buying an iPhone is doing it because they want to be locked into the vanity. That's ridiculous. You don't prefer it. That's fine. I don't prefer Android phones because a freaking feature comes out and it's not allowed on my phone because it's 2 years old and my carrier doesn't support it.
I mean, this is new and it may have not taken yet, but
well, that's a huge problem. Google put out a big press release that they're releasing a new feature and it doesn't work on 2 Android phones.
Yeah, well,
but hold on.
Brian's phone is brand new.
But you're describing something, right? That this is actually a good example. Okay, so in any other world outside of Apple, right? New technology might appear, right, and won't necessarily work perfectly everywhere. It might be niche, but it will allow almost everyone to tinker with it in one way or another. And Apple's approach is, until it's not everywhere, we won't put it out, right? We won't even let you look at it in the right in a direction they don't want. And that's what I'm talking about, where they lock you in and you feel comfortable and cozy, and that's fine, right? Now look at the chat, and this is exactly what I'm talking about. And Tish, I understand you love your Apple MacBook. I do not love my computer. It's a product that helps me do things, right? And that's my problem. They sell this and I do not mean any disrespect to anyone who's listening to us, but they sell this imagery of this supposedly synergy with this piece of technology, and that's what it is. It's a piece of technology. It is not better than anything else, but they market an image of, hey, look, this is perfect.
Oh my God, you're telling me that a company is marketing themselves better than what they are? That, I mean, let's make that argument about every piece of anything that has ever existed. I mean, you ever
No,
watch fast
my
food
only
commercial?
gripe with it is that their
You ever seen a Burger King commercial, Gal? You ever seen what those burgers look
I'm
like
not
in
talking
commercials?
about, but that's the thing. Who's driving the marketing is the users, right? And that's what I look at how you're defending this piece of technology, right? I'm not defending Windows in any way. I'm not defending Linux in any way. If I am defending, I'm defending maybe an aspect of it, right? There is no such thing as a perfect product. There isn't such a thing. And Apple definitely doesn't fall into that category. But everybody who buys Apple, and probably because they need to pay an arm and a leg for Apple, they want to stand by their choice. And that's a psychology that works here.
Okay.
And that's my gripe.
All right, fine. Nobody has a problem with your gripe. I have a problem with the blanket statements that you're making. And if you want to talk about price, okay, fine. Make your argument about the MacBook. Why don't you let's do a cost comparison on the most recent iPhone in comparison to the most recent Samsung or the most recent LG phone. They're the
Oh,
same
don't touch the
damn.
Samsung and LG. They're
Okay,
they're trying to do the same thing.
okay, but
Definitely don't go there.
my point is it's a blanket statement. That's my problem. It's just a blanket statement. You're
Gal,
saying, oh,
Gal, you gotta,
Apple's the only one here that's falsely advertising that their product is the greatest thing in the world. No, come on.
Gal, Nick is right. You cannot make any blanket, yeah, like to generalize. No, when you say most, I will go for that. But to
Yeah, of
say
course,
that
most. Of course,
everything is
most.
not, but let me say one thing. I'm not an Apple user. I'm definitely not a fanboy of Apple.
I am. I already know.
Somebody a couple of years ago gave me a MacBook Air, and I had to redo it, and I didn't know what I was doing. I called the Apple store. They said, "Come over." I went. I sat there for 5 minutes waiting. Then somebody came over, led me to their table, to the desk, took the computer, looked it up, said, "Okay, let us do this." Took it in the back, came back, and said, "It's ready." They put the operating system, erased everything because that's what I asked them to do. I did not pay for this computer. I've never been there. They never got a penny from me. That is customer support. And I remember that we talked about it, and I was really, I'm very impressed with their technical support, customer support. You walk into an Apple store and you are going to get help. Now, yeah, if you go in and there are 50 people in the line, oh yeah, you're going to have to sit there and wait. But that's because there's only one store. If you have a problem with your Windows machine, with a PC, there are different places you can go to. The first place will be where you bought it, and it spreads it out. But again, here what we're talking about is the price of a piece of hardware that most people use computers today in order to be online. It's not like when if you're writing programs and you're producing videos and you're doing all kind of mathematical uh development. What? Yes, you need something with a lot of power, and you may be able to use that, and you will have to pay more even on the PC side. But to buy one in order to do web browsing and work remotely from home while connecting to your computer at work and pay 3, 4, 5,000, I'm not. I don't go for that.
Agreed.
And I want to know who in the chat has paid 5,000 or 4,000 or even 3,000 for a Mac computer in order to do just that. I bet you they did. I can't imagine. Go ahead, Nick.
No, they haven't. And on the same vein, people, you got to remember, the regular consumer is not going to buy
Right.
the most
That's-
expensively kitted Mac.
Right.
They sell the one that is like $5,000 comes with like, I mean, it's an outrageous price, but it comes with like 8 terabytes of storage or something, or the NVMe storage. I mean, it's stupid how much storage it comes with.
Yeah.
So again, it's not for everybody.
And
Oh,
here,
no,
It's not for me.
that's
I would never buy a MacBook. It is not for me. I would never buy a Mac.
it's not your thing.
It's not my thing. But I'm
Yeah.
not going to make. But making a statement that it's just completely vanity and nobody buying it has got an actual use case.
Well, it is. I mean, when you buy it to use it on the internet for
Correct.
browsing and what that is vanity. You want to have the Apple because you're used to it. Okay, fine. You like the
That's not
ecosystem.
vanity. To say that you're used to it, that's not vanity. No.
Well, no. I'm saying you used to it is one thing.
Yeah.
You want to have a computer that has the Apple on it, so everybody would say, "Oh, they have an Apple." That's vanity.
Yeah,
You like the ecosystem, which is fine. All these things are fine together or separately. It's fine. It's good reasons, and it makes you feel good. The most important thing. And you have deep pockets. Great. Good for you. Good for Apple.
Now, let's be honest, though,
Yeah.
to be fair about the deep pockets thing. If you're buying the baseline MacBook,
Yeah.
or MacBook Air, your pockets aren't any deeper than for
other, right.
example,
That-
a Lenovo Yoga, which
Yeah.
or
Now,
the
here-
Lenovo X1 Carbon, which starts at $1,200.
Yeah.
So,
You see, that's what I was gonna bring up here. So go now to the PC side or to the Windows side. And Hannah is in grad school, electrical engineering. They told her that she needs to have something like the Surface. Because of what they do and how they do it, they said the Surface is the thing. And she talked with other students. It is ridiculous.
agreed.
Prices of, I never knew that.
they're expensive computers.
Yes.
The newest gen Lenovo X1 Carbon, the baseline X1 Carbon is $1,500.
Yeah. And that's not good enough for what she needs. Because she looked at the Yoga and she went and she said, yeah, but then if I take it over there, I can't use it. I need something that is more like a tablet. But I need to run these programs on it that will not run on your average touch screen that folds back and all that. They have all kind of programs at school that she needs to use.
There's a use case for everything.
Exactly. So this is not something that everybody needs, but here is a situation where you have to have it if you want to do what you have to do. So I understand. But again, to go back, no, never mind. I'm not going back to that. We beat the dead horse.
You don't understand, Gal, that the Windows computers are being controlled by the NSA and Apple. The only truth to freedom. You're just in denial, you deep state globalist scum.
But you know something now. I don't, again, and I'm not an Apple user. So is the Pro, the Mac Pro.
The Mac Pro, the MacBook Pro.
Not the book, the computer,
Yeah.
the tower.
The new cheese grater, the new one.
Now, can you replace cards in it and get a better GPU to stick in it, to put add-ons,
In the
things
new
like
one,
that?
I think so.
I don't know. I have no idea.
The trash can you could not, obviously.
So you see that's another thing that one would want to have a PC tower versus that, because now you can
but the argument that you just made is that most people are using their computer to browse the web.
no.
So
I'm talking
Hold on.
fails here.
If you're
I
using it
know.
to browse the web, then who the hell is going to do an upgrade in a computer?
Right. Nobody's going to do. The one who's going to do upgrades on
Us.
is a gamer like you. Is
Or tech
somebody what?
Or a tech guy.
Oh, a tech guy.
Yes.
Not necessarily a tech guy. Somebody who needs to have it, and maybe he'll go somewhere and say, "Look, I need to do such and such. I need to have faster GPU. What can you sell me that will go into this computer now? That's maybe two years later when there's a whole new family of GPUs.
Oh, now Tim makes a good point, chat too, that I didn't think of. The resaleability of Apple products is unlike anything else.
Absolutely.
So your cost, I mean, you can go on. I was actually looking at this the other day. I don't know why. I was trying to embrace my inner fanboy. I went on where did I go? Here's a 2017 early 2017 12-inch MacBook Pro for $800.
Yeah,
You can buy you can give somebody a Windows computer from
that's
2017
correct.
for
Absolutely.
$800. They
Yeah,
wouldn't take.
but it was a lot cheaper when you bought it.
Correct, but I mean, that's part of that. That's another part of
Yeah.
the another part.
This
of
is what I always told customers when I was selling a lot of computers. I said, don't buy it today for and thinking that you want to use it in 3, 4 years because you're going to pay more. And then you would still want to buy a newer one in 3 or 4 years. It's a lot easier to give somebody in the family a computer that you paid $500 for and buy a new one versus giving away something that you paid $1,200 for. And you couldn't really get anything out of the 1,200 that you couldn't get from the 500. Go with the flow. Today you need that. That's what you buy, and that's what would happen. And especially if after you buy something in the store and it goes bad after the warranty is over, it's not worth fixing these things. So it's better to go with a cheaper one and accomplish what you were trying to accomplish anyway. It's different strokes for different folks. And the people that are buying the apples, the MacBooks and the Mac Pros and whatever, feeling good about it. They may not know any better. Some of them may not know any better because that's what they always used, and that is fine. A lot of people are using Apple computers that are years old, and they're still working, and they're still doing what they need to do with them. Not many people use old PCs. But that's again, it's instead of making a blanket statement that may fit or may not fit others, I would say that for each his own. You want it, get it.
God bless America.
Yeah, hey, we're free. We can do whatever we want. But I'll never forget when Hannah was in middle school and we went for an open house before the year started or whatever. And we're talking in early 90s, and go into the what they call computer lab, and it was all Macs.
Mhm.
And I asked the teacher, why are they all Macs? And back then, I mean, yes, what did people do? What do the kids at school do? They put programs for kids to learn how to type, to learn,
Yeah.
I mean, really basic things, and to pay over $1,000. I told her, I said, you can buy 2 PCs for the price of that. Why is the school spending that kind of money? And she said, because that's what we know, and that's what we told them to get. That's what the teachers knew. They were familiar with it, so the school went ahead and bought that. So that's, in my opinion, that's wrong, especially when now all school are complaining about, oh, no money, no money, no money. So what are they buying today? A lot of them.
They're still buying Macs. My school is full of iMacs.
But what are they going into right now more and more and more? What you mentioned at the
Oh, the
beginning.
Chromebooks, yeah.
Chromebooks.
Yeah, but that's a different game. They're going to the Chromebooks because the kids are bringing them home
Well,
And
it's
they're not gonna give a kid a $1,200 MacBook to bring
right,
home.
but the
Or
point
you
but the
put it on.
point is it accomplishes what they're trying
Yeah,
to
well, 'cause
do
it's
in the
changed.
school.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
those but it's changed. I remember when I was in elementary school, the computer lab in elementary school was
Mhm.
all, um it was the iMacs that had, like, the teal and the orange color, the see-through iMac, you know the ones I'm talking about, the CRTs? I don't
Mm.
remember what they were
The
called.
Power Ranger range.
Yes,
Yeah.
the power whatever it was called,
Yeah.
the Power Mac or whatever it was.
Oh, that's what the older before the Intel.
Yes, yes, yes,
Yeah.
yes. Um, and yeah, I remember using those in
Yeah, and
elementary.
they paid good money for them, I'm sure.
Oh, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
and I'm sure they did. And but
Yeah.
at the time, the PCs were very computers were probably PCs were probably very expensive as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
There you go. This is why you tuned into Computers 2K now. Good conversation. One day I'll win. You know, I've got a great idea.
No,
Why don't you buy
you're fine. You're
why don't you buy me a MacBook and then I can have some conversation here. I'll send you a screenshot.
yeah,
Let me get
right.
this one.
No,
MacBook.
let's find a Power Mac from the 90s and let's review it.
You know, actually, I may have one.
Oh, that's shocking to me.
Isn't no, Nick, you saw it in the storage building outside.
It was.
What?
That's what it was. Yeah, it's one of those old Power Macs.
Yeah, fat, whatever. I don't know. But no, I mean, look, they serve the purpose. They still serve a purpose. Both sides are serving purpose. Thank God today the economy is good that you can afford to buy these things.
Yeah,
So
no,
it
I never meant to seem like the asshole who wouldn't listen. Hey, my gripe with
yeah,
Apple, right, is about a million things. I'm looking at it differently than most people because I'm looking at it from an engineering standpoint. I'm looking at it from a technical user standpoint. But yeah, one thing I found is it's very hard to stop someone from taking that first step into this ecosystem, right? When it's in the long run, in my opinion, it's not going to serve them right, and that's where it comes
that
from, right?
that
Now,
was. Go ahead.
keep in mind, my experience with Apple starts outside of the US, where Apple in the US, right, has this very effective, very efficient network of stores today. Something they didn't have, by the way, in the 90s, right? Something
Right.
that started only in the 2000s. And yes, the experience most people have here, and it has proven. I mean, their business model works, right? They're one of the biggest manufacturers of cell phones, and obviously very successful in the computer business. But I always have the feeling that Apple treats its customers as little children, right?
Hmm.
And that is something that I've always had a struggle. And so whenever this comes up, everything goes out. So
Hey, I'm not gonna be on the full screen. All right, Kyle, are you ready?
yeah.
Ooh, ooh, run away! Ooh. You all right? PTSD.
It's
Kyle's having PTSD.
it's just a horror movie. It's just
yeah,
gore.
but you know, I mean,
Hurry,
Uh,
run behind the chainsaws.
Gal, to go back to what you were just saying about that the kids are introduced, one of the biggest gripes back in the 90s and even in 2000, early 2000s, is we always said kids are the schools are flooded with Macs, and that's what kids are using. They're going to really hurt when they go out to the workplace and they're not going to see any Macs.
Okay, think about it from the other
And
perspective.
I know there's always another
Sir,
side. Yeah.
but there's a reason for this. Apple, excuse me. Apple gives
Mhm.
schools incredibly deep discounts
Right.
on computers to do exactly what you just described, to get
Exactly.
it in the ecosystem.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
and it's a great,
Yeah,
great
but Nick, what do you do
Microsoft
as
does the same. It's not.
oh,
but
they do.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
But Nick, how are you gonna feel when you are graduating and going to work and you're great on Apple, but now suddenly everything is PC? You can't tell your
Oh, no.
boss, "Hey, get me
Adversity.
a Mac."
Oh, you're gonna have to learn something else. Boo freaking who. I don't
Well,
care.
no. That you should
I
learn
don't.
something new. And the kids that had Macs at school and PCs at home were the winners
Yeah,
because
but
they
point
could go everywhere.
anybody okay, so the argument I'll make to that is anybody that uses a Mac in school and is unwilling to learn to use a PC in the workplace, first of all, shouldn't be in the workplace.
Well,
It needs
first, no. You can't say that because when you
I
come
can.
to the workplace, you cannot say, "Yeah, I don't know how to use a PC, but I'll learn." No,
Yeah,
they
exactly.
want
That's
somebody
exactly
who knows.
yeah, well, let's
You
figure
have
it
to
out.
have the experience before you go to it to apply. Uh, unless
Figure it
you're unless you're really something else, and the boss will say, "You know what? Yeah, we'll take a chance on you. We'll
yeah,
see."
like me. Yeah, I mean, me.
That's the yeah. But it's fine. The bottom line, I think, what we got into after all this is
God was wrong about
they're
me.
both
Exactly.
viable. One is more expensive than the other in some cases, and you can take it the other way around. And like we saw in the Surface and Alienware and all those, they can be more expensive than an Apple. So, but in general, to just stay on the internet and do browsing and do remote work and email and stuff like that, anything like even the Chromebook will do.
Yeah. Moral of the story. Apple is the greatest thing ever. Buy their product.
Okay, fine. You say so.
I'd say
Okay,
so. I mean,
now,
I'm
Gal,
using Macs right now.
Gal,
Yeah.
um, you had some story about Walmart.
Oh, yeah. So I don't know how many of you are using the Walmart app on their phone. I'm using the Android one, and I'm guessing the Apple one is exactly the same. I I use it to pay and check out because it tracks all of the receipts on the app, and so don't need to, if you want to return something, you don't need to look up for the paper receipt and all of that. Last week we went to Mati and I. We went to buy some yarn. She wanted to do some knitting, and we bought two balls of yarn. When she started knitting, she said, "I wouldn't need the other one. It's just too much. Let's return it." And so I said, "Sure." Opened up the app. They now have an option where you can choose from your previous purchases, and you can start the return at home, right? Just
On the app.
yeah, from the app itself. You just mark what you want to return and go through that. Click, go through the process, get to the end of it, and lo and behold, it tells me no need to return the product. You will be refunded.
What?
You can throw it away or donate it.
How much was it?
$5.
Okay.
Damn.
Was blown out.
Yeah.
The process of returning it probably cost more than the money that I will receive back. And so apparently that's an option. It was really a first for me. So definitely start a return. I'm guessing also it won't let me do that forever on everything, right?
Of course
And
not.
it's probably part of introducing people and pulling them into it. But I thought this was an experience I should definitely share. By the way, the next day we bought another piece that we needed to return. This one was more expensive, of course, and so we need to go through and I can tell you that the process of returning through the return process that I started didn't work in the store. Okay, so it's far from perfect, but the notion that returning something, it might be not even returning it to the store, is really really interesting.
Huh?
So that's what I wanted to share.
Yeah. And Amazon does that too for low price products. Cause you're right. It doesn't make sense to have, it's way more. And for something like yarn,
Yeah,
depending on what you've already done with it or not done with it, it might be in a state where it's not even worth return. Like, for example, if you'd pulled the little label off of it or whatever, at that point, it's not even worth return.
right, but it asks you, why are you returning?
Oh.
So, right, and I say it's just an unneeded item. It's just
Yeah.
an item that I bought, and so it's obvious that it is impact, right? It's exactly the same way I bought it, but still, the automated process told me no need to return. That was in Amazon. I found that no matter what the product, if I go through the automated process, I always get a print label. But if I go through customer support, right, in a chat, there are some times where they say, yeah, leave it, you'll get the refund. Here, I was blown away by the fact that it was an automated process, right? And the response I got was, never mind. Right? That was surprising.
Walmart.
Of course, remember, right? I'm selling my entire Walmart experience to Walmart by using the app. They know when I enter the store, they track me as a profile with everything that I bought, right? That's what we get for that's what we pay for getting these type of services, right? So I'm not naive in what they know about me, but always do the choice responsibly of whether you want to buy into this experience, right? But just know that it exists.
Yeah, Walmart Pay is fantastic. I haven't used my debit card at Walmart in probably a year.
Mhm.
Actually, that's not true. I used it a couple weeks ago because I was on my phone and didn't want to get off the phone call to use Apple Pay or to use Walmart Pay. But it's fantastic.
Yeah, and as far as Amazon doing it and the price of the thing, Uzi, my brother, bought a gallon of that special oil that you put on reusable air filters in cars. And the new pickup that I have has one of those weird filters that aftermarket that you wash, you clean it, and then you spray it with oil. And I remember I bought a kit and I think it had 2 pints of that oil, which will go a long way. And the kit was like $20. Uzi bought a gallon, and I think it was 30 some dollars. It was leaking. It was in a plastic bag, but some of it leaked out. And he got it from Amazon. So he called them and they say, oh, don't bother returning it. We'll just send you another bottle and make sure that it doesn't leak. So I got that bottle because he doesn't, I mean, a gallon will go. I mean, I probably will never have to buy any more until the day I die. But it's not, it wasn't $1 or 2 or 5. It was a good amount of money. But apparently it's not worth it for them because I probably costing them pennies. I don't know. And
Well,
it's not
transporting-
Amazon, and it's not Amazon that's giving you the refund. Remember, it is the merchant
Hmm.
that is losing that money, and the merchant probably says, "Oh, don't worry about it." I remember years, probably about 3-4 years ago, we bought sesame tahini from Amazon, and it was real good price, but you had to buy 12 at a time. was like in packs of 12. And one of them leaked when I got it. I mean, so it was all over. So I called and I said, "Look, it leaked. It's all over the place. I mean, I'm not taking it out of the box. I'm just going to put it back and uh, seal it and send it back." She said, "No, no, no, no. Just keep it. Don't worry about it. We'll send you another one." Wow. Again, that wasn't. I mean, it was cheap, but it wasn't cheap, cheap, cheap. So it's yeah. This is how they keep. They get exposure by us talking about it, by other people now repeating this. It's worth gold for them. Just imagine how many more people are going to now go and get the Walmart app and do this, knowing that it's easy. They don't have to go to the store in most cases. Great. So it's worth it for the stores to do that. But, but for them, nice. All right. Let's see what else we have. So there was something about Google Chrome that crashing browsers on thousands, if not more, enterprise networks for nearly 2 days. Nick, did you or Gal, did you come across it?
No, I had a battle with Chrome this week, but nothing
Uh,
to do with crashing systems.
I
the
think one of my
issue,
coworkers told me about this, but I don't remember seeing it anywhere.
it says the issue first appeared on Wednesday, the 13th. It didn't impact all Chrome users, but only Chrome browsers running on Windows Server terminal server setup. A very common setup in enterprise network, according to hundreds of reports. Users said that Chrome tabs were going blank all of a sudden in what's called a white screen of death. The issue was no joke. System administrators and many companies reported that hundreds of thousands of employees couldn't use Chrome to access the internet as the active browser tab kept going blank while working.
Oh, you
In
said
fact,
this was for Windows Server.
yeah, it's the ones that are running on Windows Server terminal server setups.
So people that are using
Mm,
RDP
I
to
don't know.
as a terminal, which is very common. Yeah, that makes sense.
interesting.
Yeah, but it went on for 2 days before they fixed it.
Yeah, no, that's I didn't okay, yeah, terminal server computers. Yes, yes, yes. That is a huge problem. We have a bunch of people that use that.
And they were saying that many employees didn't have the option to change browsers and were left unable to do their jobs.
Yeah.
Similarly, system administrators couldn't just replace Chrome with another browser right away.
Why?
I don't know. That's what
That's
I have no
exactly
idea
wrong.
how it works on Windows Server.
It
Yeah.
works the same as it does on regular Windows. If you
So
wanna
I don't know why they couldn't install another one.
yeah, if you want
Well, if you have a system, right? You have a system that's locked in on Chrome
Yeah.
and blocks any other browser, and so now you need to deploy that new browser to all of these. Yes, it's terminal server, but still, you need to re-image. You need to create like a new image, a new boot up image for that terminal server. It's not like a 5-minute fix. It might take a few hours. I'm not saying it's impossible, but then when you, especially in these environments that use terminal service, they are large enterprises, and so every decision about a change go through what's called a change process,
Hmm.
right? There's a request, there's a committee, there is an approval process, there's the test. So changes usually can take anywhere between like really critical changes 24 hours and a week to 2 weeks, or maybe a month, depending on what cycles these work in. And yes, I'm talking about IT. So if you're talking about a large enterprise, deciding to start using something on a whim, that won't work.
Hmm.
Yeah. I mean, I'm
Well, I don't.
fighting Chrome right now at work on some stupid thing, and because of the decision of using only Chrome and, for example, not using Firefox, um, then that fight will probably never be resolved the way I want it to. So
The thing that makes me think about what was done here, and I don't know if I mentioned it or if you missed it. It says a Google Chrome experiment has gone horribly wrong this week and ended up crashing browsers. So it's some kind of a Google Chrome experiment. It's
yeah, but
like
I don't know what that means.
Google created that problem by trying something. I have no idea. I don't know.
Yeah, there. Um, what I find strange is, so these. Um, I wonder if it was on the dev, or there are three streams for the Google Chrome. Okay, and when you just download it, you install the general one, the normal one, I think they call it, or at least that's the way it used to be called. And there are two others. There's one development, and there's one called uh,
Night
Canary or Nightly or something
nightly,
like that.
yeah.
Right. So if it was on the development one, then that makes sense, and that's just too bad. And it makes zero sense for end users to be on the development end. The real question is whether this was on the regular one, the production one, and that's bad. That's really bad if they did it that way.
Well, I don't know. They don't mention which one it was. All right. For those of you who have a website with a .org, last week the Public Interest Registry, PIR, which maintains the .org top-level domain, announced that it will be acquired by Ethos Capital, a private equity firm. This move will make PIR, previously a non-profit domain registry, officially part of a for-profit company, which certainly seems at odds with what .org might represent to some. Originally, .org was an alternative to the .com that was earmarked for commercial entities, which lent itself to nonprofit use. Back in the early days, .com was commercial companies, .org was for nonprofit organization, and .net was for network providers, internet providers. That is not all. On June 30th, ICANN, the nonprofit that oversees all domain names on the internet, agreed to remove price caps on rates for .org domain names, which were previously pretty cheap. Seems like something a for-profit company might want. Now, I don't know who thinks that .org are cheaper. They actually been going up lately. Right now, the cheapest one is the .com. .net is expensive, more expensive, and .org is more expensive than a .com. So, if you have a .org and you can get the name with a .com, there's no telling what that new company will do. You can buy a .com for pretty cheap, and you should, if you can get the name, you should get the name and the .com and just keep that domain for a year or 2 years. It's not a big investment to see what they're going to do with the .org. But it could become a problem for those with .org domain name if they're really nonprofit that don't make any money. A lot of them don't make any money. It's all run by volunteers. Nick,
Yes.
tell us about temporary files
Oh
on
yeah.
Surface.
Came to a weird issue. Dealing with it for a couple weeks and finally found the solution. Um, there's a service or a program that is I don't know what it is. I guess it's a program that's pre-installed on the Surfaces called I forget the name of it. It's called
He's saying surfaces, not
yeah,
services.
Surface laptop.
Right.
Guess I didn't take down the name. It's some sort of Surface, Windows Surface program that generates hundreds of gigabytes of error logs, and it will generate like 20 or 30 gigabytes a day worth of error logs. So if you have a Surface and you're dealing with a space issue, you should take a look at that. That's probably your.
Where is that folder? I
It's not
mean,
the folder that's the problem. It's the program. And I don't have my notes in front of me. I don't remember
okay,
what stuff
all
is.
right.
Trying to remember what it's called. Let
But
me see.
people may have that situation with their Surface and they are not aware of what's going on.
Yes, it's called the Microsoft.Surface Hub. That's the name of the program, and you have to use a third. It's not a program that's installed in like a regular. You won't be able to uninstall it from uh,
Programs
program
that feature.
programs. You have to use a special. You can get it from like the TechNet or any other thing. You just want a special program on installer, and it's called Microsoft.Surface Hub.
Funny you mentioned uninstaller. You actually a great segue to a link I sent you this week.
Yes.
Yes. Uh, Amnon actually at the beginning of the show asked me about upgrading from Windows 7 to Windows 10. So great news. It's still possible if your Windows 7 is a genuine activated Windows 7. The upgrade will still work even though Microsoft officially stopped the free upgrade. So just know about that.
The upgrade will still work for nothing.
Yeah, the in-place upgrade.
Yeah.
So if you have a Windows 7 or Windows 8 and you have delayed upgrading, you can still do that. I had to do it for family back in Israel, so I did most of it remotely. There were two or three steps in the process after the reboot where my family member on the other end had to do it. I had to guide them through it, but other than that, the installation went smoothly. So I was really surprised. Definitely, if you need, don't fear. Take a backup, make a backup, of course, but definitely go through the process. What I had an issue with was it was a rather old laptop, and not only that, it had a previous owners that used it differently than what my family is going to use. So even though I did an in-place upgrade, I wanted to clean up the machine. About 2 weeks ago, I discovered a neat tool called Snappy Driver Installer Origin. Terrible name, absolutely fantastic piece of software, which allows you to, which scans the machine it's running on, detects which drivers is needed, has maps which drivers are recommended out of what is available, and also downloads and install them on the fly, creating a system restore before that. So I said, if there's something that automates that, maybe I can find something to uninstall. There used to be a whole market of uninstallers around the early 2000s, and most of them were terrible. So, but I nevertheless, I tried looking around, and I found two. One that might cater to any regular user of the computer that just wants some better way of managing uninstallation, wants to uninstall 2 or 3 pieces of software at once, and just needs something very simple to allow doing it and not go through a lot of hoops around it, uninstalling. That's called Geek Uninstaller. It's an open source software. Very simple interface, just a list of the items, select, uninstall. It does fairly well. Sometimes you need something more stubborn, more in depth, something that looks into more aspects of the system and it'll still allow you to remove and uninstall properly. That other one is called bulk crap uninstaller. And not only does is the name great, this piece of software is so robust. You've heard me gripe about CCleaner in the past.
Mm-hmm.
This takes the concept of CCleaner to way beyond. It maps all of the software that it can find, not necessarily software that has been installed with a regular installer. So it maps the software that's installed on your system, whether it was installed by third-party managers like Steam or Origin, all of those game launchers. It identifies what part of ecosystem they're part of. It maps Windows apps, Windows Store apps, and of course Windows applications. It maps applications that are installed but are no longer registered in Windows as installed. So if a machine was sometimes after an upgrade, not all of the software is still registered in the registry because the upgrade for the OS, for example, cleaned up some of the registry keys, stuff like that. So it maps everything, allows you to choose what and which of the software to remove, and it starts by trying to use its regular uninstaller that it can find, and if that fails, it can try to do it on its own, mapping all of the folders and all of the registry keys to it, giving you full control of what it's going to delete or not, creates backups before and after if needed. Complete control. Really, really impressive piece of engineering. And of course, completely open source, very well maintained. So definitely, if you're interested in that, if you're techie enough to understand what an uninstall without uninstalling, what will be the different outputs that it might show you, definitely take these for a spin. They're really, really impressive.
All right. It's good. You put them, I see you put them in the chat.
Yeah, just pasted the link in the chat. So one is called Bulk Crap Uninstaller, and the other is called Geek Uninstaller. By the way, I don't know if it interests any of our listeners, I've been talking about Scoop as an application manager. So Bulk Uninstaller can also map does map all of the Scoop installed application. So suddenly you have them listed in a UI, not only in the command line, and so it's very easy to map if you want to remove a lot of stuff, including stuff that you've installed via installer like Scoop or Chocolately or things like that. You can still use this tool. So it's really very convenient and done very well. I'll also paste the Snappy driver installer. Let me find it. Yeah.
I'm adding it to the links.
Yeah, these three applications, they're they've been around for a while. I've just only recently discovered them. They are definitely uh, uh, game changers for me in the way I manage my PC and I help others with theirs. So really like it.
Okay, so which one is the bulk uninstaller? Wait a second.
BC uninstaller, bulk crap uninstaller,
Okay.
bcuninstaller.com.
And the Geek uninstaller is that's it? Geek uninstaller?
Yeah,
Okay.
Geek uninstaller.
All right. Keep going.
Yeah, those are those. So I ran both the Snappy Driver uninstaller and both the bulk crap uninstaller on that remote machine after it was upgraded to 10. Cleaned up a huge amount of crap. There's no other way of describing that.
Crap.
Yeah, a huge amount of it. There were different, like these very shady security suites that were installed there, probably with good intentions, but no good intentions in the software itself, that were so deeply rooted in that system that the uninstaller took care of fantastically. It starts analyzing the application, tells you which processes should be killed before you go through this, so the removal will be clean. And all of that is not necessarily part of the native uninstaller for the item. So it an uninstaller suite, a generic third-party uninstaller suite that I can actually trust, because it's not driven by any financial mechanism, and so I'm not too afraid, right, that it'll try to push its own stuff on me instead. That's what I have. That's my main gripe with third-party uninstallers. They're I either they cost money, and that's fine, and that's a business model, and that makes sense. But those that come for free, there's always some hidden agenda within the software. Here, it's collaborative collaborative piece of engineering, right? That is very well established already and works tremendously well.
Yeah. I'm adding to the links on the left. Alan is asking you a question. He said, "Is there a similar uninstaller for Mac? You know?"
That's a good question. I do not know.
I mean,
One place I always look for software, and that may help. And if you guys don't know, is Alternative 2, alternative2.com or alternative2.net. They're the same site. So let's see. If I look for Geek Uninstaller, and then I can look at the alternatives and filter them by platforms. There's one called AppTrap. I have zero knowledge about their how well they are, but as a free open source software, there's one called AppTrap. I don't know if it's any good. And I'll send the link so you can take a look and see how that looks when you're searching Alternative 2. There's a few discontinued projects. There are some free, but only one that I can see that is free open source. And in this category, free, I would probably go with free open source, but I do see there's a highly ranked one called App Cleaner, which is free for Mac. So,
does anybody have any experience running a Windows 10 repairer? So my machine has gotten incredibly slow and bogged down. I think I've got a disk issue, but the hard drives are fine. I've done tests, or the SSD is fine. The hard drive is fine in terms of integrity of the disk. My Windows installation will very frequently just freeze for like 15 seconds, and then everything will, everything will just kind of catch up rapidly. Has anybody ever run the? I know if you put in a Windows 10 install disk, I think there is a repair option.
Well, even without the install disk, I think you can do what is
Refresh.
called a restore or refresh or reset, which it doesn't erase everything, but it puts everything from the old system aside. So you'll get a fresh program files, fresh user data, and a fresh copy of the OS.
Yeah, I don't necessarily that.
Yeah. Other than that, I don't know. I haven't really tried. But take the bulk crap uninstaller and take the Snappy driver installer suite, the driver installation thing, and run them. See first of all that you're running the very latest and updated drivers, and the bulk one will map stuff that you probably don't want on your system anyway, and that might help in cleaning up drivers or anything like that that shouldn't be there.
Yeah, I had an interesting experience this week. I went through I ran Malwarebytes for the first time ever on my computer, and I
Okay.
had 5,700 files that it cleaned off, and it was just all pups and stuff like that. I mean, it wasn't loaded with viruses, but I thought that was rather interesting. Yeah,
Yeah.
I use Revo uninstaller. I've never used this bulk crap.
Yeah, that's old.
Yeah, but
It's been around for a
Yeah.
while. That's what I'm trying to say.
I'm uninstalling some. Does this bulk crap uninstall things from the registry?
It does everything. You weren't around. It maps
I wasn't.
every piece.
I heard you. Yeah.
Okay, so it maps everything. It maps everything that it can identify.
Okay.
Let's put it this way. If it's in your start menu, if it's in program files folder, if there's software registry values, I'm not talking about those for uninstall and install. Those are definitely there, right? But software that isn't mapped to an uninstaller properly, it'll still find it. It's amazing.
I see that. Yeah, and it does do a registry. I just uninstalled.
Any uninstaller should do the registry.
Well, but some like hide it, and it's like an advanced option because
Oh.
which the reason you want to run an uninstaller is to clean out the registry.
Right.
That's the whole reason. Yeah, this is good. I'm running this now.
Yesterday, I got a quote from one of my friends.
Oh.
Saying, "I'm having a problem." I said, "What?" He said, "I'm on Walmart on his computer. I'm on the Walmart site, and I got these pop-ups that say that Microsoft is saying that I'm infected." I said, "No, don't worry, it's nothing. So just first go Control-Alt-Delete, start Task Manager, close Firefox, then run CCleaner and run Cleaner, so it will remove all the temporary files. So now reboot." Okay. Said
Hold
no.
on. We said never reboot.
Huh?
We said not to reboot.
No. For something like this, it's fine. Because once you clean it, you want to. So he's doing it, and we're talking, and he said, "Okay, it's up." I said, "Okay, start Firefox. Go to Walmart." He went to Walmart. He said, "Oh, there are the pop-ups." I said, "Wait." I said, "No, something is wrong here." Again, close it, run CCleaner, and never mind about rebooting at this point because you don't need to. And I said, "Okay, now tell me how you're going to Walmart." He said, I go and I type Walmart, and then I choose it from the results." I said, "John, did you call the operator to ask for my number before you called me?" I said, "No, I know it already." I said, "And you know where Walmart is, right?" He said, "Yeah." I said, "Why do you have to do it like that? Why can't you go directly there?" I said, just type Walmart.com. So he did. And there comes the pop-ups. And he said, and there's nothing in my cart. I just had 16 items in my cart and it's not there. So I said, okay, tell me, what does it say on the address bar? And it was an IP address /something /something /something. I said, you're not on Walmart. I said, something got screwy on your computer. They are, somebody is having fun with Walmart and they hijacked. I said, go ahead and run CCleaner again. And the only reason to run CCleaner is to get rid of the cache, the temporary files that it builds, because it has it there. And we're doing it again and again and trying this, trying that. Nothing works. Finally, I said, and he said, and I ran CCleaner before I called you. So I said, did you change something in CCleaner? He said, I'm sure I did. I don't know why. I said, okay, bring it up. And the temporary internet files was not checked. So I said, why did you uncheck it? That's what CCleaner is for. All the rest of the stuff is meaningless. He said, you need to get rid of everything. And I told him, do the history and do everything. He said, why do I need to get rid of my history? I said, I want you to get rid of the history. I want you to clean up the browser. So he did, and then he was bitching about the fact that this is how he uses the history as his bookmarks. After he did that, I said, okay, now go to Walmart and do it the way that you did it earlier. Just type Walmart and choose it from the results. He said, oh, yeah, now I'm on Walmart, but I don't have anything in my cart. I said, you don't understand. You never had anything on your cart at Walmart. You had something in your cart at Hardee's. I said, but I didn't go to Hardee's. I said, you didn't mean to. Hardee's apparently had a sign outside that says Walmart, and you went in there to buy stuff. You didn't realize that when you went in, it wasn't Walmart. And that's how these guys are doing it. They copy the site exactly, and you think you are there. The only thing they're waiting for you to do is give them your credit card. And it was hard for him to understand this. I had to repeat it. I said, no, you did not have anything in your cart on Walmart. It was on another site, on a scam site. They finally got it. And I told him, I said, look, if you know where you're going, and everybody should do that. And I always wondered years ago why the bank, when they send me an email and said, okay, there's a statement available, you need to go to www. So why don't you give me a link? And they will not do that. They want you to type it.
Yeah, because they don't want you to get the email with a wrong link.
Exactly.
And click it.
Yeah. So I explained that to him. So I said, if you know that the address, type it in the address bar and go there directly. If you don't, fine, type Walmart, choose it, and after you're there, look on the address bar and see that it says Walmart.com. If it says anything that's misspelled, like Walmart with double L, Walmart store, anything like that, now that you've been there and you know that it's Walmart.com, if it's anything else, don't go there. It was a good lesson, and everybody should learn from this. You need to be aware. I guess it's just second nature to me. Every place I go, if it's something that has to do with financial, if it's something that I'm going to do anything there, I always look, after I go there, I look at the address bar to make sure that this is the domain that I actually meant to go to. And maybe it's easier said than done to tell somebody to always look at that and make sure that you are where you are, because if you are walking into a Hardee's thinking you are in Walmart, you would know, hey, this is not Walmart. But it had a sign outside. And I had a sign that directed me right into here, but it's not. You need to know where you are. And I told him, I said, you got off with a cheap lesson. It could have been a much worse lesson. They could have gotten your credit card and you would have to then go and close it and all that kind of stuff. You got it. We spent almost an hour on the phone because I really wanted him to understand. So that's what happens with the scam sites. And it during the holiday, it's bad.
Hey, Gal, I got a question for you.
Mhm.
Just installed this Snappy Driver Origin.
Yeah.
And I'm given 3 options.
Download the indexes.
Only the
Start,
indexes only?
start with the indexes. Then, um, so I'll explain how it works. It's a good question because it took me a while to understand. So what it does, they manage the project. They manage these bulks of drivers, these packages of drivers, and they group them by I think technology or companies or whatever. So these are large files. These can go to, I don't know, 500 gigabytes. They're large files, right? Uh, the packages I had to install I had to download amounted for 3.4 gigabytes of data. Okay, so they're large files. Anyway, so the way it does it, the reason it does it this way is they curate they collect the drivers, they package them into these bulk archives, and they share them over torrent. So what it does, it uses BitTorrent as the protocol to download these files. So the more people use it, the better the download bandwidth. So that's why they're using that protocol. And by the way, it doesn't seed unless you specifically tell it to continue seeding afterwards. So don't worry, you're not being abused or used. Once it downloads them, it can start installing from within the packages the installers that it downloads. So when you first download the indexes, you basically tell it, okay, grab whatever is available out there, a list of whatever is available out there. And the next step is it scans the system, maps, and shows the drivers that it recommends that you install. Depending on the drivers you choose, it then goes on and downloads the package that is required. The 3 options that you see allow you to either download everything, which will be a few tens of gigabytes, and that you won't help you in any way. Or probably one is all, and the other one is just the stuff that's relevant for my system. And the indexes, I went through that. Then I saw which installers I needed, selected those, then told it to run the installation. Then it downloaded whatever it needed, which was still a lot, but a lot less than everything. That's all.
So I excuse me. So I started that, and now it just says downloaded 0 bytes of 16 megabytes, 0%. Do I have to do anything else?
No, you just need to wait. That 16 megabytes those are the indexes. Those will download. Once that's downloaded, it'll present a list of everything that it can upgrade for you. Every driver that it can install and upgrade for you.
So this is what I'm looking. So I click that now. So now I just have to wait. Is what you're telling me based on this screen?
Yeah.
Click anything?
No. Amnon,
Okay.
could you freeze on?
Yeah. I'm gonna freeze it on him.
So I opened it and clicked the index option, and now is there anything else that a user has to do once they get to this page?
At this point, no. This should actually advance really quickly.
Yeah, it's sitting.
If it's did it ask for a firewall approval and you didn't give it?
Oh, I did give it.
Click on the click here to select. Yeah. So Yeah, so these are the packages. See, the first one is the indexes.
Yeah, it
Wh-
hasn't
wh-
downloaded. Yeah.
Yeah, and all of the rest, you see, if you scroll through it, you'll see the different
Right.
sizes of packages.
But they all say for this PC, no.
Yeah, so if because you haven't exactly until the indexes are downloaded, it can't know if
Gotcha.
this PC matches or not. So for some reason, it's not downloading the indexes. I wonder why.
Let me reopen it. Always something with me.
It's always something. It's
Yeah,
not
it really,
one thing, it's another.
it really is incredible.
One thing that took me by surprise, I installed when testing the software, I tried it on my main PC, this Alienware, and I, what, 3 weeks ago, maybe a month ago, I reinstalled Windows on it from scratch because I had a similar issue like what you're describing. In my case, the OS wouldn't boot, but everything was okay on the drives. So I was sure with the system, with me manually installing the system and going through the driver sites, downloading the latest drivers from the websites and all, that my machine is up to date. Ran the snappy driver thing and was blown away by the amount of crap that wasn't installed, and I'm still using very old versions of, and ran through it, and lo and behold, everything worked. Looks
So
like you got it.
I did. So what would you recommend at this point a user do?
So first of all, you see there are those where it says updated driver available,
Mhm.
and those where it says updated driver available, which is also more optimal.
Yes, because this is a
Definite,
processor update.
right? And definitely go first with the more optimal.
Okay.
Select the system restore point. Oh, you have your system restore point are disabled. Most user will have the option to checkbox the first one.
Why
So
can't I click that?
because you've disabled system restore points in Windows.
No.
Then there's an issue with that. That's why there's an issue on your system. If you'll try to run system restore, and if it probably doesn't work, so check that, okay? Because it relies on Windows built-in system restore.
Oh, shadow copy. What?
I don't think it's a shadow copy. I think I don't remember what the restore point used, but maybe, yeah.
Yeah, I have a restore point. I was created yesterday. Automatic restore point system.
Not restoring the whole system, just take it back like a day or two.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
what
Windows has a built-in
Okay.
yeah,
mechanism.
I have
Yeah.
a restore point that existed yesterday.
I went ahead and installed everything, right?
Yeah,
Just because I wanted to see the impact on the system, I could allow it. uh, uh,
so
But
I started with the optimal ones. Now what do
yeah,
I install?
and then yeah, just click install.
Okay, I'll do that after we get off the air because it's some CPU stuff and whatnot.
Yeah, yeah. It'll tell you at the end that you need to reboot. It doesn't force the reboot on you. And it downloads the stuff. By the way, I think you can choose. Okay, so if you click at the click here to start the download, yeah. If you click there, and now you choose this PC only.
Mhm.
Okay, you see it's gonna download 2.5 gigabytes of data. You see the total download size?
Yep.
Yeah, so you can do this, do accept, it'll start the download now. And so when you get to, when you're ready to install, it doesn't matter. It already started. You see downloaded,
Yeah.
the checkbox are only for the install process.
Yeah.
What will happen when everything will be downloaded is where you see update driver available, parentheses internet,
Mhm.
then the internet part will drop because it's already on your machine.
Gotcha. So it's just going to download all that stuff in the background.
Exactly. And
You
as you can
mean
see, because it's using torrent, it's really, really fast.
Yeah, like this chipset driver, like I could have that. That could be as simple of a problem. It's just the
Yeah.
ZP79 chipset. Plus, I probably should do a BIOS update as well.
Probably, yeah. Now, on top of everything, I don't think it does BIOS update.
No,
by the way.
no,
Yeah.
that's separate.
By the way, if you click the arrows on the right side,
Mhm.
each of these basically it lists all of the versions it can install for you, and you can choose which version.
Yeah.
And this is what I think makes this really unique as a tool, especially for tech who's trying to
If you're
to
trying
do
to roll
something
it back.
update.
Yeah.
Yeah, either rolling it back, or if you can scroll down to the red one.
Yeah, it's not signed.
Right. So sometimes there's a very new one that you want, and it's not signed yet, for example.
I
right?
like
So
this message. It says the update. What did it say? It says the update
also
driver
more
is optimal, though it is older. So
Yeah.
it's telling you it's optimal, but it's old.
Yeah, it's definitely more optimal than what you're running,
Yeah.
right? But it is old. There are newer.
So one
So
of
yeah,
this is for SATA, which may explain maybe some of my drive issues. Maybe the SATA controller and update would help with that.
yeah, could be.
Cool.
So definitely, yeah.
I'm gonna be
It's
honest.
like-
when you first sent me this link, I downloaded it, and the UI was a huge turnoff because it looks like a piece of
You're right.
They're bullshit, frankly. I mean,
You're-
I mean, it does. These icons on the left look like somebody just was playing around in Visual Studio. And
Yeah.
just made a program. It looks like a virus.
I agree that it
And the
looks
name too.
terrible.
Happy Driver Installer Origin. I thought you were sending me a phishing. I thought you were doing a phishing test with.
Oh no. This one is pretty amazing.
Now what? Oh, now it's indexing. So
This is an engineer's tool. It was written by engineers for engineers, right? But anyone can actually benefit from it if they scratch into the surface of it.
now
Beneath the
get rid of a bunch of things.
It's the same one.
Or
They're just ready for installation. They're no longer internet ones.
Oh, I see. Gotcha.
Yeah. Very, yeah. We definitely need to make sure Spence is this, because Spence, I think, will really enjoy this one.
I guess I need to create a manual restore point first.
Yeah, I would recommend that. I mean, you're still going to take the system into shock, so.
Okay, I'm creating restore point.
And this is actually going back to our discussion about the difference and Apple and all of that. And yes, this is probably not needed in the Apple world. But the thing is that in the Apple world, this will also not be possible, right? So this is one part of the engineering of an open system, an open as a concept, right? An open system as a concept that you will not find in closed ecosystem. And so, yes, in a way, it makes these more complex. It makes them more tedious to manage. Usually, it's not needed, right? It's needed only for a technician. But here, I get the tools that in the Apple world will only be available behind the scenes, if at all, right? And that's probably why I still appreciate Windows a lot more. Hell, I really like Linux, right? But I'm working mostly on Windows machines.
The problem with some program like this these days are for the old timers that been using. There were quite a few driver updaters that
Right.
were full of viruses and
Terrible.
yeah, and I can understand some people being, I don't know. But here,
I can
mean,
tell you-
you can use this one. This is not
Yeah.
the same thing.
And definitely don't forget the origin part of the word. The reason is there is a snappy driver installer, which it's the original project, right? That started this way. It is no longer part of non-profit. It's part of a for-profit computer outfit that took hold of it, became sort of what they call evil, right? Became commercial. And so this is still the open source, open driven, free, completely free project out there. And so don't forget the origin part of the name.
Well, I put the
You put the link.
I
Yeah.
put the link on the links on the left.
So I think the other one is snappydriverinstaller.com. I mean, that's how evil this whole
Evil.
battle between them is.
Interesting.
Yeah. So take note, you want the .org one, the origin.
Okay. All right.
If you're updating your Ethernet controller, it will turn your internet off. Just an FYI.
There's a very good chance it will. And 99% of the time it will. If it didn't, it probably didn't do it.
Didn't do it.
Yeah.
So FYI, it's quickly, but it does, in fact, turn your internet. When you look at your taskbar and you do see internet, you have no internet. Word for the wise.
All right. It's this time of day.
Good show.
Very good show. Very good discussion. Anything else anybody wants to add? Any announcements? All right. Well, thanks, Nick. Thanks, Gal. This was a lot of fun. And good morning, Kathy, Hannah, Nabil, Mac, Norm, Katie, and Donna, and Dina. Thanks, everybody. Thank you for tuning to Computers 2K Now. We hope you enjoyed and maybe learned something from our time together. Remember to practice safe computing. Back up your hard drive and update your virus scanner. We'll be back here next Sunday at 9, but you can always reach us at Computers 2K Now.
You are tuned to the Nissan Communications Network. If you tuned in too late, you can always watch each program in its entirety or download an MP3 audio file of it in the archives section at nissancommunications.com. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, follow us on Twitter, and like us on Facebook. Sponsored by Telestream's Wirecast software, StreamingGear.com, Carolina Apparel, and DeltaForce.net.